Hi, Subhashish. How are you?
Hello, sir. I'm doing good, sir. Thanks for asking. How about you?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
Right.
Okay, let's begin with our interview. So, let's start with the basic one. Can you please help me to understand your background, your introduction kind of thing?
Sure, sir. So, yes, thanks for letting me introduce myself. So, yes, my name is Vasis Swai, and I'm born and brought up from Rourkela and currently residing in Bhubaneswar. And I've completed my master in computer application in from Biju Patel University of Technology, and which gave me a strong, hands-on and foundation in data analytics along with some sort of computer application stuff. Yes. So currently
Mm-hmm.
I'm working as a professional in Capgemini, and
Mm-hmm.
my daily task is to monitor the on-prem servers and cloud applications itself. So I do basically with the help of Python itself. So I've automated my also my primary goal is to automate the business requirements where the application needs to be up and running every now and then. So we need to basically keep the application's downtime minimum to means 0.01%. So that I use basically Python to do that. And other than that, I also work with multiple cloud applications like Azure Functions and Logic Apps to maintain our applications health as well. So yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
that's
right. Right. So, Subhashish, as you know, this role is basically we are looking for a Power BI developer. So, do we have any Power BI experience kind of thing? Like what all things you have done in Power BI?
yes, sir. So thing is like we do have a project in in our ongoing project in Capgemini, which I'm into. We do have a
Mm-hmm.
project like we used to get data from the resources. Basically, our project is on what we can say. The domain is like um, airplane, basically
Mm-hmm.
airport domain actually. So we get
Okay.
X-ray data. Let's say we do have some sort of data like people are passing through X-ray devices, like so.
Mm-hmm.
We do have some in count and out count. So we used to get multiple sort of data in a
Mm-hmm.
raw format, and we used to transform into a proper
Okay.
meaningful data, and we used to show into a Power BI dashboard, some sort of Power BI dashboards based on the user requirements, some sort of basically in the time slices. Yes,
Okay, let me ask you some basic question. Like, can you please help me to understand what are the different components in Power BI and what is the use of each component?
right. So basically, if we see only for Power BI desktop, we do have three components basically, which is Power Query, and we do have Power View, and we do have Power Pivot, which is
Mhm.
Power Query basically acts as an internal ETL tool. Basically, we do extract the data from the raw sources, and if based on the requirements, we used to do some sort of transformations, and we will be loading into Power BI desktop. Post that,
Okay.
based on the required, gathered information, the gathered table data, we used to do basically the modeling stuff that is being done on Power Pivot, and
Okay.
post that based upon all the modeling is done, we used to show the visualizations based on different visualizations based on business requirements. That
Mm-hmm.
is known as Power View.
Okay.
And once that is done, actually, so the report is being published to Power BI service. So
Right.
being taken care, that is being used by end users, where the users will be
Mm-hmm.
seeing the only the visuals, and rest all the filters and what all the data sources is being that ends be taken care while the building the reports. So yes,
Right. Okay. So we will be creating a data model in Power Pivot, right?
right.
So some sometimes what happens, like when while creating a data model, we see sometimes many to many relationships will happen, which is not recommended, right? So in
Understood.
those situations, how to handle those many to many relationships?
Okay, let me talk about what all problems we will be facing while many-to-many
Mhm.
relationships. Like then we can jump into what will be the resolution first of all. That
Right.
right. So in let's say we do have two tables. We do have some sort of table one which has, let's say it is sales table and it has uh, city ID. We do have
Mm-hmm.
multiple cities. Let's say we do have five cities
Mm-hmm.
that are being duplicated based on the sales. And we
Correct.
do have another table which is called profit.
Mm-hmm.
which has that also consists of multiple table IDs. So we'll be creating a single table actually, which will be bridging the gap, and
Mm-hmm.
that bridge table will be connecting like it's basically we'll be doing from sales table to bridge table and from bridge table to profit table. Based on that, we'll be gathering the sales data for each product and the profit data from each city actually. So each city. So to do
Mm-hmm.
that, we'll be I mean creating a bridge table between the to sort the, to create the, to
Mm-hmm.
sort the unique values of the cities. So yes.
Right. Right. Great. So how do we create that bridge table?
Right.
Concept which you said is correct, but I just want to understand how to create that bridge table.
Okay. So in Power BI, we do have basically, as per my knowledge, by
Mm-hmm.
doing some sort of projects, I came to know that we can, there is a function in DAX actually that is
Mm-hmm.
called values. That's a table function actually. So
Right.
we can
Mm-hmm.
create values, the value function, extract the
Mm-hmm.
unique or the unique values from the table which we have given in the values function actually, and it will be storing the data into a table basically. So let's say we do have
Right.
sales, it will be
Mm-hmm.
unique sales, unique city sales, we can is equal to values of the table
Mm-hmm.
in the
Right.
yes stuff.
Right. Great. Yeah. Okay. So I have a situation where I have multiple pages in a report.
Okay,
Okay. In page number one, I want to apply a filter. Okay. In
okay,
such a way, for example, the end user selects year 2025 in a slicer,
okay,
and then he moves to page number 4,
okay.
from page number 1 to page number 4.
Understood.
There also we have the same year slicer. Okay.
Understood. Understood.
So if he selects 2024 in page number 1, automatically in page number 4 also the same year should be selected. So
Okay.
what would be your approach?
Okay, we do have multiple approaches actually, but basically the one which I have is in my project. I will be saying that actually. The thing is like, let's say we have a concept called sync slicers. So
Okay.
let's say we do have multiple pages, as you mentioned, 10 pages. So the user
Right.
wants to see the 2024 selection in a slicer from page 1 and the same stuff in page 4. So once we
Correct.
select the slicer, we'll be seeing selection option in the tab actually. And once we, from the format and format pane from the tab actually.
Mm,
And once that is selected, we'll be seeing some sort of selection tab. I mean,
right.
post that there is an option called sync slash
Right.
slice actually. And
Mm,
we will be seeing all sort of pages where where the same slicer is being used.
okay.
And based on the requirement, as you mentioned, the user wants to see on page 1 and page 2, we'll be selecting only those pages where the slicer needs to be synced with the pages on the user selection. So with that, we
Right.
can
Right. Very good.
right.
Okay. Um, what is the difference between a filter and a slicer?
Okay. There are means as a layman, actually, we can say there is no filter. No difference actually, but based on the user and developer point of view, we do have multiple differences. So let's
Mm,
say we do have a, as a point of developer, developer is being developing a report, so
mm,
he can apply filter on. Basically, there are some sort of, we can say, filter on this page, filter on this visual, or filter on all the pages. This is some sort of a default filters
mm,
we will be applying on the reports
mm.
before sending it to the user. We can,
Right.
and and what slicer does is based on the user specified requirement. Let's say user will be selecting, he wants to see the sales of 2023, and based on the slice selection, if you select 2023, all the visuals in the page based on the edit means
Mm,
filter is slice selection, all the 2023 data will be sorted. So yes, that is the
right.
difference.
Okay. Okay. So then what is the difference of using a slicer and page level filter? Is there any difference? I have a page level filter and
Right.
I have a slicer. So is there a difference between these two?
So let's say page level filters are being means those are default filters. If we can
Mm,
do that before sending to the users, or we can apply that page filter, or we do not want if that is a requirement or not. But
mm,
slicer is a user point of view actually. If we want to do that,
right. Mm, mm,
basically filters are for developers and slicers are for user point of view.
right. Very good. Okay. Now, I have a report. In that report, I want to create a landing page. Okay. My
Understood.
first page should be a landing page where I have the company logo and all the different page names in my report. For example, 5 pages are there. So
Mhm.
I want to create 5 different buttons. And from there, if anybody selects that button, he needs to go to that particular page.
Okay.
Okay. In that kind of feature I want. What would be your approach?
Okay, we do have multiple approaches actually. In my case, I have used two approaches. First of all,
Mhm.
will be creating separate buttons actually for each page.
Right.
That is not dynamic actually. Once we create a new page, we need to create another button in the first page. So that is not
Right.
dynamic. The
Mhm,
second
mhm,
approach will be page navigation. Once we means basically, I am not able to recall what is the exact method actually, but
mhm.
once we, I think it is under Insert tab. Insert
Right.
tab will be seeing the page navigation option itself. Once we
Right.
select that one, all the required buttons will be basically buttons kinds of switchable, but
Mm.
I mean switchable buttons will be created on the first page itself. So
Right.
we can go to the different pages. Yes.
Right. Very good. Okay. Okay. I have a visual. Okay. I want to give the end user an option whether he wants to see that visual in the form of a bar chart or in the form of a table chart. Okay.
Okay.
So, what would be your approach? Like how you want to give an option to end user where if he selects something, it should
Mhm.
convert into a table. If he selects something else, it should convert into a bar chart.
Okay, that's interesting actually. So we do have a concept called bookmarks.
Okay.
So let's say, as per the requirement, so as you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
let's say there is a sales table. We do have
Mm.
sales column, profit, anything else. And we do
Right.
have a concept called bookmarks, as bookmarks saves the current state of the report actually. So
Right.
once we
Mm-hmm.
configure the bookmarks, based on the selection of the bookmark, we can hide or unhide the visuals, as you mentioned, if you want to select
Right.
the table view or the bar chart view. So,
Right.
and do that itself, we do have a process called, means we can either do by buttons or we can use dynamic images. We can download it from Google or stuff.
Right.
And based on that, if we go to this bookmarks tab, we're
Mm-hmm.
seeing some sort of two options actually. Create a bookmark.
Mm.
Once we create a bookmark, we'll be selecting what all visuals we need to show in the first page. I mean, the first option itself. We'll be selecting
Mm-hmm.
that and deselecting all the ones which are not required. I mean, basically hiding actually.
Right.
Will be once the, I mean, the creator, once the bookmark is created, will be just updating that bookmark with the recent state of that page report. I mean, report of the
Right.
page actually. And
Mm-hmm.
the second requirement is we'll be seeing the table ones and we'll
Mm.
be deselecting all the ones and we'll be selecting the button which is required for table and we'll be updating the new bookmark. So yes.
Right. Okay. Very good. Right. So, uh, I I am getting a Excel file every month. Okay.
Okay.
At the end of every month, I am getting a new file. Okay, the file structure will always remain the same. Okay,
Okay.
like end of January, I am getting a sales report. At the end of February, I am getting another sales report. At the end of March, I am getting another sales report. Okay, all the
Understood.
number of columns, the data types, everything will remain the same. Only the data inside it will vary.
Hmm.
Okay.
Understood.
So I don't want each and every time to import the table into Power BI and refresh it and then get the visuals updated. Okay,
Understood.
can we do something which can be automated here?
We can do that actually. In Power BI, basically, I did that in my last project.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't much done yet, so I won't be having that much of information, but I will say what I've done actually. Things
Yeah,
like, let's say, as you mentioned, we'll be receiving that Excel sheet in a folder, right? Let's say
right,
we have ABCD folder and the sales report folder. We'll be
right,
importing, we have a connector, data connector in Power BI called folder. We'll be
right.
that folder in the Power BI. And based
Mm-hmm.
on the files which are present on that folder itself, we'll be getting all the data itself. And once that
Right.
is pulled into Power BI,
Mm-hmm.
each and every time the new data is being, let's say we have till June, and in June 30th will be, I mean, on July 30th, we'll be receiving July's data. So once we refresh,
Right.
have an option called refresh in Power BI. Once we
Mm-hmm.
refresh that, the July's data will be updated in the our current report.
Right. Okay, very good. So what is the difference between merge queries and append queries?
Okay. Let's say merge query is basically, by theoretical, I cannot say actually, means, but theoretically, basically it is joins, we can say merge, and basically
Mm,
append means we can append the previous query, I mean previous data, which or the two datas into
mhm.
in stack actually, that I can say.
Okay. So what is the prerequisite for merging two queries? I have two different tables. I want to merge those two tables.
Okay.
Okay. So is there any prerequisite? If this is the case, then only I can merge or else I cannot merge.
Okay. We have a concept called card, I mean, basically primary key and foreign key, right? So
Mm,
based on the primary key which is being, uh, is it in the first table or the second table, or the foreign key in the first or second table, based on that actually we can merge two tables.
For example, both the tables do not have any primary key. Okay, both the tables we have duplicates. Can't we merge those two tables?
We can actually, but
Mhm.
I'm unable to recall that exactly what
Okay, no
exactly.
problem.
Yes.
Okay, no problem. Have you used the manage parameters concepts in Power Query?
Yes, I have used
What
multiple.
is the use of that one?
So yes, as we know, I'm working as a, I mean, multiple tables, I mean, multiple environments. So
Mhm,
let's say we have UAT development, UAT environment, and dev environment, and production environment. So before
mhm,
I mean, manage parameters come in this place, like we used to, means basically parameters are some sort of like values which we need to dynamically send to a query or some sort of
mhm,
uh, let's say in my use case, we do have I get the data from SQL database A or something,
mhm,
and that is
mhm,
the UAT environment. And
mhm.
once I means completed with the report development, once I need to verify with the development team that if this is working or not. I mean, basically the
Mhm,
UAT testing for business or not. So he wants to do test it on development environment. So in this
mhm,
case, the database should be the development one. So once we configure the manage parameters, we'll be simply
mhm.
sorting the, I mean, giving the development SQL details, or the SQL table details, or the server details in the manage parameters.
Right,
We can
right.
then configure with that.
Okay, very good.
Just we need to
Okay,
check.
let's,
Yes, right.
yeah, understood. Very good. So let's come to the DAX part.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
So what is the use of calculate function? How to use the calculate function?
Basically, we do have a scenario. Basically, it's a filter function actually. So let's say I want a data. We do have a sales data actually, orders table with some sort of that.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a column called East, I mean, region data actually. We do have East region, West region, Central or something. I
Mm-hmm.
want the data for sum of sales for only the
Mm-hmm.
East region actually. We can use the calculate function based on that.
Mm-hmm.
It will be basically the syntax will be some sort of like this. East sales equals to calculate, and then sum of orders column, I mean orders sales, and we'll be
Mm-hmm.
giving the region equals to East, which will be returning only the sales based on East region. Actually, basically, this is
Okay.
kind of a filter we can do, or we can do any sort of like calculation based. Like I want West region as well, so we can include in that as well. Yes.
Okay. In calculate function, if I want to give more than one filter condition, okay. So
Okay.
like for example, you said calculate sum of sales, then my filter condition is region is equal to east. Okay. Then I want to give another one filter condition, maybe category is equal to furniture or something like that. Okay. So in between two filter conditions, what operator, in default, what it will take, whether it will take and or whether it will take or.
By default, it's taking and actually.
Okay, very good. Great. Then I have a situation, okay,
Mhm.
where I have a slicer. Okay. In that slicer, like I said earlier, I have a year column.
Understood.
Okay.
Understood.
So by default, what will happen if I select 2024?
Mhm.
My, for example, I have a card visual where I am showing total sales. Okay.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
whatever the year we are selecting, accordingly, my data will be filtered and I will get the
Data.
that particular year sales, right?
Mhm.
Now
Understood.
what I want a title on that card visual. Okay.
Okay.
That should keep on changing dynamically. That means if I select 2024 in my slicer,
Mhm.
in the title of the card visual should show 2024. If I select 2022 in my slicer, in the
Mhm.
card visual, the title should change to 2022 dynamically.
Okay.
So what would be your approach?
Okay. First of all, I would like to talk about the slicer actually. So if we don't select any value, there won't be any value actually.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to highlight that one actually. If we aren't selecting any value, the title will be blank. So that we don't want. So first of all, we'll be modifying the slicer settings to select one actually. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, the user needs to select any one value. Post that,
Right.
once the slicer settings is done, we'll be writing a DAX function. Let's say dynamic title or dynamic sales or sales here or
Mm-hmm.
something equals to select. There is a DAX function called selected value.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Based on the selected value which we have selected in the slicer, we'll be giving that selected value as a parameter in the selected value column, which in our case, in a selected value parameter.
Right.
In our case, will be selected value or the undim date, basically the date column of that. I mean the year column. Post that,
Right.
we'll be showing that value in variable where x equals or something,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll be then returning that value to that. I mean returning that x value. I mean
Mm-hmm.
where we have stored that value. Once
Right.
that is done, in the card visual, we'll be configuring that title dynamically by changing the form by clicking. I think I'm unable to recall that what icon it is, but I call it a formula icon actually.
Right.
Formula icon
Mm-hmm.
once that is selected, we'll be choosing the field values. What will the field values?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
the field values will be selecting that DAX model which was just created dynamic title. So once that is
You're right.
configured upon our slicer selection, the title will be changing. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I have year by every year sales I am having. Okay. I have a year column and I have the sales column. I
Okay.
want to calculate what is the growth, like year on year, what is the growth I am getting. Okay, I want to see that one. So how to calculate the year over year growth percentage?
So normally I mean, the logic for calculating year-on-year growth is like we will be calculating the current year's sales, means what is the sales,
Mm,
and we'll be subtracting with the previous ones, and it will be divided with then the result will be divided with the previous year's sales,
mm,
and to show it in a basically in a percentage manner, we used to
mm,
divide it with, I mean, multiply it with 100. So in Power BI, we'll be doing the same stuff. Like
mm,
we have a slicer, I mean, slicer, slicer, where we have year
mm,
column, and we'll be creating a DAX function. Let's say year-on-year growth. We have a
mm,
variable called selected data, I mean, sum of sales.
mm,
Then the value will be like sum of sales. I calculate sum of sales,
mm,
which will be I mean the variable name will be current year sales, and there will be
right.
a second variable called POS, previous year sales,
Mm,
and I mean the logic will be calculate sum of sales, and we will be giving the filter as the previous year sales actually.
right.
I mean the date actually, previous year date. And
Mm,
once that is achieved, we can again, as I mentioned, that we can achieve the current year sales minus previous year sales minus, and the divided will be by previous year sales. And to show in Power BI, we'll be using the percentage icon actually to
right.
show it in percentage with a
Right.
percentage symbol. Yes.
Right. What is the use of all function?
Okay. Uh, I have used all function in my project actually, but I am unable to recall what exactly means, what exact definition to do that. Basically, it
Mm,
excludes basically. Let's say we want to show the sum of sales, I mean,
mm,
based on category, not on subcategory. So if we give the all function in the calculate function based on
mm,
subcategory, the subcategory won't be filtered actually. So
mm,
basically, if we want to remove any filter based on
mm,
column or something, we use all function.
mm. Right. Great. Okay. Coming to Power service part, I
Okay.
have a situation where I have multiple groups. Okay. multiple departments. For example, I have HR department, I have marketing department, I have analytics department. Okay. And I have three different reports. Okay. In a
Okay.
workspace. In a workspace, I have three different reports. One is for HR, one is for marketing, one is for analytics. Okay.
Analytics.
I want to share a single link with all the three groups. Okay.
Okay.
But HR people should not be able to see marketing and analytics report, and marketing people should not be able to see others report. Only their report they should be able to see, and similar to the analytics department.
Okay.
So how do we achieve this one?
Okay. That's a tricky question actually for me as of now.
Mhm.
Um, I haven't seen any kind of situation in my project itself because I work into only the development of
Okay.
Power BI reports. I mean, the publishing stuff is done by other team. So I do
Okay.
have a concept. I mean, role level security. We can apply role level security to that actually, and based on that, the table reports will be filtered based on the team actually. So I can say that
Row
much.
level security will help in a single report. For
Yes.
example, one single report,
Mhm.
I want to apply security and share it with multiple people. But here I have different reports. Okay, I have different reports and I want to share, I want to create one single link out of all the three reports and then share it with all the three groups.
I understand, sir, but I'm not
Okay, no
confident.
problem. Yeah, yeah, no worries. Have you seen anything called create app kind of thing? Anything in Power BI
Mm,
service?
I have, yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
but I haven't had any many means. I do not have any
Okay.
action on that actually.
No problem. So you, as you said, your different team was handling the Power BI, I mean,
Publish,
service thing,
publishing the
right?
reports actually. So
Publishing.
yes.
Okay. 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 And one last question. For scheduling a refresh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, for scheduling the refresh, how many times a day we can schedule a report?
I think 3 times a day. I think 3 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not 100% sure actually.
Okay.
I think based on the what I can say, we do have categories, premium categories and base categories. Based
Right.
on that,
Premium category is there, pro license is there. In pro, how many times we can refresh per day? In premium, how many times we can refresh per day?
I think in premium 3 and in pro 8 times, I believe. Not 100% sure, but that is the number, I think.
Okay. But premium is costly, no? When premium is costly, how can it will be three
Uh,
times and pro eight
the other
times?
way, the other way, I think. I mean, the premium will be 8 times and the pro ones will be the 3 times, I think. I think.
Okay. Okay. No problem. I think you didn't work on that part. Actually, Pro takes 8 times a day and Premium takes 48 times a day.
Okay.
Okay. No
Okay.
worries. Okay. That's not a big issue and all. Okay. That's all from my side. Do you have any questions for me?
Okay. That was a great session actually. So,
Mhm.
I would like to know that what all, I mean, basically, if I get hired into this company, what will be the
Right.
role I will be in my day to
Right.
day? What will be the day?
Yes. Stay, Subhashis. This is an individual contributor role. Okay. We will
Mhm.
not be having specific documentation where the end user gives us in a document every requirement and all. We need
Mhm.
to talk to the end user and get the requirement. Okay. He will not give anything in writing. In during the meetings only he will tell us the requirement. So we need to understand the requirement and we need to handle from starting till ending. So this role is like individually starting from connecting to the data source, creating the reports, publishing it in Power BI service, and then sharing with the end users. If they are
Understood.
facing any challenges to view the report or anything, that also we need to take care. So
Understood.
end-to-end Power BI we are looking for. Okay,
Oh,
so the team consists of around 5 members. There are people who are there who will help us whenever we need. But the thing is, they are also so much busy that if they want to help, also they will not have much time. Okay,
understood.
they can give an idea. From that idea, we should be able to research separately and we should be in a position where we can solve the issue.
Understood. Okay.
Okay, right. I think it was a very good session, Subhashish, and HR will come back to you. and hopefully we will meet in the next round.
All right, sir. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.